Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of the Basketball Huddle. I'm Review Sports Editor Mike Brown, joined by the guru of games, Bob Steer. And Bob, exciting time. You know, we're heading through the midway point of the basketball season. We had some really good girls and boys games last week. And let's talk about some of the girls games first. Now, we've had a couple of the area teams had some tough losses last week. Marlington went to Northwest on Monday night, lost to the Indians. Alliance lost last Saturday to Canton South, but Sebring and West Branch got wins. Sebring defeated the Southern Local Indians in overtime last week, 50-48, and then West Branch. They've kind of been, once again, they're kind of the leader in the clubhouse as far as area girls basketball. They got a quality win against the Louisville Leopards last Saturday.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Louisville, I think sometimes it's hard to believe they could be overlooked because
yeah.
of the history they've had, but with the strong programs,
Right.
especially last year with Carrollton and West Branch, the battles they had, we tend to forget that Louisville has a very strong program, and the way they won,
that's impressive.
A dominant victory over
Right.
over a very good Louisville squad was good for West Branch.
And that's a young Louisville team that I think only has one, if maybe no seniors on that team, that's really getting a lot better. So when Bob talked about that's really a good win to beat Louisville 60-36, that is a quality win. And then obviously, Sebring beat Southern Local 50-48 in overtime, and then we had an athlete of the week that came out of that game in Sydney Smith, who's had a really good season for the Trojans again.
She has had a really good season, very deserving of that athlete of the week.
Right.
And Sebring, as we've talked before, I mean, they have a nice team this year. They have, with the Flowers girl and Smith, and there's several others that they have a nice core unit there, and it'll be interesting to see how they grow and progress as the season as we get into the second half of the season.
Right.
There's a lot of potential there.
Yeah,
a lot of potential in that team and that program.
Yeah. Now, come Thursday night, we have a change in the schedule. This was originally supposed to be a Saturday game. But this game has been moved. The Marlington girls will host the Alliance girls in the Battle of the Carnation City on Thursday night. That's always a good game. How do you see that matchup? I mean, you've seen both teams this year. How do you see that one? Could be an interesting matchup.
It could be an interesting matchup. I think based on what I've seen, I would say Marlington.
Yeah.
Marlington has the more seasoned team. I think Coach Talbert at Alliance has done a fantastic job. Received many compliments from opposing coaches that have noticed the difference in the team this year. So they have definitely turned it around, and they're heading in the right direction, no question about it. But Marlington, Coach Rao has a really solid group. I mean, you look at Penerd and the Zoe and
Zoe Peck,
and Marley Peck.
Yep.
I mean, it just goes down the list. They have a nice, solid group of experienced, seasoned basketball players, and that usually will make the difference in a game like that. But like you said, it's a backyard rivalry.
That's right.
And as we saw against St. Thomas, the Alliance girls really stepped up when they had that rivalry with Coach King being on the other side. They really got up for that and really scrapped and battled. So I could see it being a very competitive, hard-fought game.
Absolutely. And then obviously the big one in the NBC this week is going to be Saturday afternoon in Beloit. You have the West Branch girls who've already beat the Carrollton girls early in the season, but Carrollton was without one of its top players who has since come back. And they're going to meet in a rematch Saturday in Beloit. Now you have two state powers teams here. I mean, these are great basketball teams. And how do you foresee that one?
We'll just say it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, it really will be.
It's going to be fun to watch because, I mean, Carrollton is a very, very talented basketball team. No question about it. They beat West Branch both times last year and won the league. And, West Branch did get the win this year. I think being at home will help.
Right.
But, with Carrollton, they're back against the wall as far as the league goes. They know they have to win this if they want to repeat, at least as a co-champion. So they've got that little extra incentive. As you mentioned, they've got they should have their full lineup this time. So, I don't know who would be the favorite there, honestly.
That's going to be a dandy. It's in Beloit, but you never know. I mean, Carrollton won both matchups last year. West Branch went to Carrollton, like we said earlier, but Carrollton was minus that top player who's come back. So, that's going to be a great atmosphere. I would think that would be a large crowd in Beloit come Saturday. It should be a great week for girls basketball. Well, Bob, let's turn to boys basketball. It was kind of an abbreviated schedule early in the week this year. It was kind of like an open date in the NBC schedule. But we did have a big game on Tuesday night, a couple big games actually. Alliance went to St. Tom and played St. Tom tough, lost 70-6 to the Knights, but there's certainly no disgrace in that because St. Tom's a defending state runner-up, has a lot of kids back and has a lot of aspirations for this year. I think that was a pretty good performance by the Aviators and obviously the Knights too.
I think it was a very good performance by the Aviators. As we've talked before, I mean, Coach Kokura just does such a nice job. And
absolutely.
He had his hands full this year. He had a very, not even necessarily young, but inexperienced group of kids.
Right.
That he's had to really, I'm sure, bring along slowly. And, as a coach, I'm sure you try to accelerate that growth and that experience as quickly as possible, but it's still a process, as we've talked before. And you can really see them starting to develop.
Sure.
I think this is going to be a completely different team at the end of the year than
I
what we
do
saw
too.
early, and we're already starting to see that.
I agree. And then with St. Tom, Anthony Meglin had a big game, and he's kind of the leader of that group coming back, and they certainly have a talented group. I can't wait till the tournament starts because St. Tom has just played so many tough teams, and then they're going to go into a Division IV tournament, and they're going to be battle-tested.
You just took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say they are going to be extremely battle-tested and ready for the tournament, no question about it. Their schedule just prepares them perfectly for, like you said, dropping back down into a Division IV tournament.
Absolutely.
They'll be ready.
Yeah, and then also on Tuesday night, you covered this game. Sebring went to East Canton. That result surprised me a little bit because East Canton has a losing record. I got a chance to see Sebring last Tuesday night. They just played awesome in their win over McDonald, but it sounds like they had some shooting woes at East Canton on Tuesday night.
It was a strange game to watch. They made the opening free throw of the second quarter and didn't score a single basket after. It was like somebody had a lid on the hoop.
Yeah.
I mean, layups were just rolling around the rim and falling off. Three-pointers were rimming out.
Right.
It was just crazy to watch. It's like, and then it seemed like they just started trying a little harder, and the harder you try, sometimes you push, you press, and it just gets worse, and it seemed to have that effect. It just kind of snowballed as the game went on. Sebring, I think we all know Sebring's a better team than what they showed Tuesday. And Coach Scott said it best. He said, you just put it in the books and you move on.
Right, you sure do.
They've got things to work on, obviously, from it, but games like that, you just move on. There's no sense in dwelling on them. They happen from time to time.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, they do. Well, turning ahead to Friday night, we've got a full slate of boys basketball, and really all of our immediate area teams are home on Friday night. We've got Canton South going to Alliance. We've got the Marlington Dukes are going to host the Carrollton Warriors in NBC action. Louisville goes to West Branch in a big NBC rivalry, and then Latonia Bears go to Sebring. So, let's talk about a little bit about some of those games. I mean, Marlington, Carrollton, I would think Marlington would be a favorite in that game Friday night.
I would think so.
Yeah.
They've had the same kind of problem that Sebring's had the last couple games, putting the ball in the hoop. But as Coach Evan has said, that of all the things to have to work on, that's one of the ones you don't mind having to work on.
That's right.
Is putting the ball in the hoop, and they'll get it back.
Right.
They've got too many good players not to.
Right. And then a really attractive matchup Friday night, Bob, will be Canton South and Alliance. You have two very athletic teams, and Alliance is a young team, but getting better every game. And the games at Alliance, I would think that would be a really good matchup.
I'll tell you, Canton South has really impressed me when I saw them. I covered the West Branch game and the Marlington game, which Canton South won both of them.
Right.
And they have a very good team, very well balanced. They have good size. They have good quickness at the guard positions. And that'll be a real good matchup for Alliance. And I think it's going to be, again, we talked about the progression of Alliance. Well, this is going to be a good measuring stick to see where they're at, how much they've improved, and it should be a good game. I agree.
I think it'll be a great
the
game.
athleticism in that game is going to be good, and I think. Like I said, we're going to find out. It'll be a measuring stick.
Absolutely.
For the Aviators.
And then also Friday night we have the big NBC rivalry. Anytime these two get together, West Branch hosts Louisville. Now again, that's a big rivalry, but Louisville is having a great winter in boys basketball. Has a big, tall, talented team, and West Branch is a smaller, really athletic team. So you wonder how the contrasting styles are going to play out in that rematch come Friday night.
It'll be very interesting because you're right. They are two completely different looking teams when you look at their rosters and the way they're built. I really think West Branch is going to have to get out and push the pace because they do have the athletes to run. Lovewood, seeing Thomas get out on the fast break, and he's got good shooters on the wings with Heffinger and some of the other guys. But I think in my opinion, for them to beat a team like Louisville,
Yeah.
they need to wear them down.
Right.
They need to wear some of those big guys down. They really need to get out and run and push the pace, and they've had some success doing that this year. So it'll be interesting to see those contrasting styles and how it plays out.
Right, and finally Friday night, the Sebring Trojans are home to the Latonia Bears. I would think that would be a good chance for Sebring to get back on the winning track. You know, the confines of their own facility. I would think there's a comfort level there, and I would think Sebring would be a favorite in that game.
I would definitely say so. I think it should be a good game, for a good opportunity for them to get back home, find their shooting touch. That's the big thing with Sebring.
Yeah.
And the last couple games they ran into some pretty physical opponents, and I think that I don't know much about Latonia, but I know Coach Scott has kind of talked about that a little bit, about how they need to be more physical. So I wouldn't be surprised if they came out kind of in that mode of sending a message.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to say they got pushed around, but East Canton was definitely more physical that night, and I'm sure Coach is probably going to challenge them to step their level up, because they're capable.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the players.
Oh, they certainly do.
So to challenge them to step up. So I actually expect a good game out of Sebring this Friday.
Yeah, it should be good. Well, it should be an exciting weekend, and as always, we're looking forward to it. Big matchups, and for Mike Brown and Bob Steer, we'll see you on the court.